into streets of gold. I'm gonna see the Lord tonight. I can't wait to leave this old rotten world. I'm gonna see God tonight. And the doctor tells him, I think you got something bad. Yeah, you want to applaud? That was bad. But the doctor tells the same guy, I think you got something serious. What? And this guy will spend every dime to try to get cured so he doesn't have to go off tonight to see the... He wants to stay right here. Banjoitis. There is an absolute truth to that people who claim they can't wait to leave this old world and go to a greater place will do anything humanly possible to survive and stay right here. So it's a contradiction. I was telling the people this morning that as I visited the folks in the hospital, every time that I see something, my mind starts working in a spiritual, mystical way. And I looked at the doctors, and I looked at the sick people, and I looked at the nurses, and Spirit told me as I was coming out to the parking lot that this earth is an insane asylum. It's a hospital. And we're all patients. Every single person is a patient in an insane asylum. But the problem is, instead of listening to the doctors and the nurses who are in here, we're listening to the patients. And they're telling us what to do and what's going to happen. And they come down from Ward 9 and say, demons are going to get you. Devils are going to get you. God is planning a nuclear war. People are going to get out of their graves. And they come on television. All the patients come on television. And they're telling us this stuff. And we're spending the money because we want to be with them. We want to be just like the people on Ward 9. And we don't listen to the doctors. We don't listen to the nurses inside. And so what have we done? We've lived our life getting advice from the patients on Ward 9. And then we wonder why it's screwed up. We've never listened to the doctor in here. We've never followed the healing message in here. We listen to those who are 10 times sicker than we are. And then they come on all the patients come on television with their banjos and with their pianos, and they tell us all of this bizarre stuff. And then they tell you, to show you how whacked out they are on Ward 9, they say, if you will get out your Visa card and send them $1,000, I will send you a hanky that I blow on. Phew! And yes, we send them the $1,000. So we're in trouble. Big trouble. Because the patients are calling the shots. Okay? But those people then who get excited and tell you that this old earth is no good and they can't wait to get to the streets of gold and they can't wait to get up to the pearly gates, as I said, will do anything possible to protect themselves so that they stay right here. But then let me ask you a question. That's another question. What about God is just? In other words, God is fair. I mean, we're all supposed to arrive at the point of being a born-again Christian and receive Jesus Christ, yet there are many who are born Muslims. There are many who are born Shintos. There are many who are born Buddhists. There are many who are born Hindus. You know, what chance do they have, as far as we're concerned, to be like us and to reach this point of salvation? Very little. Very little chance. And there's many people have a head start, don't they? I mean, depending on their family circumstances, you may be born into a very rich household somewhere in Hyannis, Massachusetts. You've got a pretty good shot at doing what you want to do. Or then, on the other hand, you may be born in some depressed area in the middle of the woods somewhere, or out in the plains of Africa to some tribe. You don't have very much chance then at living, do you? Where's the fairness in that? Where's the justice in that? I mean, one kid is born, he's guaranteed he's going to grow up, be a lawyer, whatever. Anything that he or she wants, she's got, or he's got. But what about the little child that's born to this Bedouin tribesman in the middle of the Kalahari Desert? What chance? Maybe a chance to live, 4 years old, 5 years old, it's lucky. Not a whole lot of justice in there, not a whole lot of fairness in there. Some people are born, like most of you say, born with healthy minds, most of you healthy bodies. Many are born, there are some children born without a brain. There are some people who were born with limbs missing. There were people who were born with their heads attached to another person's head. There were people who were born with all kinds of bizarre disfigurements. Where's the justice? justice? Is this fair? I mean, is it God merciful and he's just? Is this fair? What the heck's going on here? I mean, does anybody ever get on a religious Christian program and talk about people that are born with two heads? Or people that are born without limbs? Or people that are born with only a part of a brain? What's this all about? See? And how can we be credited at some particular time? Because we start, we live, we survive the body. You know, what I'm trying to say to you is this is the way we're told that we get born a particular time, the body dies, but we survive it. But we don't pre-exist it. What happened? You know, where did we come from before the body? They know what happens to us after the body, but where do we come from before the body? According to the Bible, it says God foreknew you. You existed before you got in this body.
Yep.
Where were you? What were you doing?
Chilling.
Where did you exist?
Nowhere.
Nobody ever wants to address that. And the simple reason is Christianity in the West simply says they don't believe in reincarnation, so they're not allowed to talk about these things. What does it mean, God foreknew you? Before you were in the womb, I knew you. And in Romans, we looked at this morning, it said God foreknew you and predestinated you. So you were known to God before you occupied the body you have now. How is this? We have a beginning, according to Christianity, we have no beginning other than when we're born, but we have no end. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. We then search for a point of perfection, which is a meditative state. It says in Matthew 5:48, be perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. How many? If I was to talk to you before you knew about meditation and say you're supposed to be perfect, you say, well, that leaves me out.
9.
How many people come into church and they hear the minister or whatever reading out of the Bible and saying, so be there perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. And you walk out the door. I'm out of this. I have no. They have no idea that perfection is the meditative state above thought. They have no idea that that's what it's talking about. So they think they're going to have to live in some perfected realm, and they can't do it. So they become very disgruntled. It's out of my reach, when yet it's so easy to become perfect, simply to hit the floor and raise your consciousness above the thoughts of the mind, and you enter into perfection. And that's all it means. But can you reach perfection in the short span of time of birth to death? Or maybe does it have an ultimate goal? Maybe there is a goal that will take successive experiences to reach. Could that possibly be? Could that possibly be? Maybe it's just too much for a person to come into life and to find this perfection, to find this place in one lifetime. Maybe it takes several attempts at it in order to find it. Maybe that's a possibility. So reincarnation could certainly be a logical way for a person to eventually reach these goals, because simply there is a creative essence in nature that says as many times as you need to experience life to reach this goal, you have that opportunity. That's possible. If there's no reincarnation, okay, let's say then there is no such thing as reincarnation. Then explain this. This is a fact. You can read this. This doesn't require you to be religious. Explain this. Wolfgang Mozart played a concert on a harpsichord at 5 years old and toured Europe playing concerts at age 6. How? How? Where did he understand? Did he go to college? Did he take a music? Did he go where did he learn at 5 years old to play a harpsichord? How could he be giving concerts all over Europe at age 6? Here, listen to this guy. Sir William Hamilton learned Hebrew at age 3, and at age 13 could speak 13 languages fluently. How? How's that possible? Where did he learn? Where did he learn? And his name wasn't Bernie Rosenblum. His name was William Hamilton. Where does he learn to speak Hebrew at the age of 3?
That's crazy.
I couldn't speak English at the age of 3. But where does this guy learn to speak Hebrew at the age of 3? Where does Mozart learn to play a harpsichord at the age of 6? How is that possible? But could they have been here before, and could they have brought with them a development that was gained in previous lives? These are things that happen all the time. And the unfortunate part is you're not allowed to discuss them. You're not allowed to think of them. How can these things happen? Oh, we don't know. So don't get involved in that stuff. It's everything. Don't get involved in it, and it's everything beautiful that you should be getting involved in. Who was a reincarnation believer? One great spokesman of the world who was a tremendous believer in reincarnation was a man named Plato. This was the wisdom of Plato, and you might want to write it down because it's good wisdom for you to understand. Now, this guy is not a kook, okay? He doesn't sell and work in a New Age bookstore or anything like that. He knows, and I don't say people that work in New Age bookstores are kooks, but that's the way the system defines people that are into the things we're into, you know? This is Plato, very distinguished, historical Plato. Listen to what he says. Knowledge easily acquired is that which the enduring self had in an earlier life, so it flows back easily. Quote, unquote, Plato. Listen to it again. Knowledge, things that you have, that you understand, that flow very easily acquired, is that which the enduring self had in an earlier life, so it flows back easily. Plato. A good guy to quote. Would you say, Albert? I mean, he has some credentials, I would think. You know, he's not the village idiot by any way, shape, or form. Good quote. So he is saying that these things that come very easily to you is knowledge that you have had in a previous lifetime, so that as you start to mature in this lifetime and your brain develops to the point where you can then reassert it, here it comes flooding into you. This is extremely easy for me to do. So somewhere, obviously, in a previous existence, I was dealing with this. Because it just takes me no time to be able to do it. Okay? That is no big deal, but just simply try to back up what he's talking about. And I'm sure there are things in your lifetime or things that you do. And if not, then you should meditate into those things and try to discern just what it is. Because there is something that comes from a previous lifetime that would be very easy for you and will make clear to you that what you were doing before. In Jesus' time, in the lifetime of Jesus Christ, I want you to understand something. The theory of reincarnation was a commonly held belief. It was a very common belief. And Jesus Christ slammed down hard against mainline religious belief. He came down against everything religious. He came down against everything doctrinal. He came down against everything of the church. He came down against the Bible. He came down against the law, but he never came down against the theory of reincarnation. Yet it was a very predominant belief in that time when he lived. Now let's take a look at some scriptures, and let's see what we look at, okay? Now, the point is, if you're coming here looking for proof, okay, then you're not being fair. On the other hand, if you want to be, as a judge and a jury, you're looking for evidence upon which to make a decision, then you be the jury. I'll give you the evidence. You make the decision based on what you hear. You can vote. It's up to you. Okay? Let's take a look. Page 10, New Testament, Matthew. Matthew chapter 11. Page 10, New Testament, Matthew. Matthew chapter 11. Okay? Go to verse 14. Go to verse 13. For all the prophets and the law prophesied until John. This is John the Baptist. Now this is the next one that I want you to see. If you will receive it. In other words, if you are not going to work at this with a prejudiced mind because people have told you not to believe it, if you will receive it, this is Elias, which means Elijah, which was for to come. In other words, there was a prophecy that Elijah would be reincarnated and make a second appearance. And Jesus Christ says, that man standing over there is the Elijah who was to come. Elijah has reincarnated into the body of that man that you call John the Baptist. And Jesus Christ says, if you can receive it, if you are mystically, spiritually stable enough to understand this. But if you are one who is plugged into the Methodists, the Baptists, the Catholics, and all of these other people, you can't deal with it. You can't receive it because they've told you don't believe in reincarnation. So Jesus has to address them and say, only those people